Hey guys, Malaki here. Thank you so much for joining the lesson. In this lecture, I'm going to give you an introduction to the band descriptors for Ielts. And this is incredibly important. In fact, not knowing what the examiner is expecting is one of the biggest reasons that students score lower than they should. The band descriptors are what the examiner uses to give you a score in IELTS speaking. In the speaking part of the exam, the examiner will give you a score from 1 to 9 in 4 areas. These are grammar, lexical resource or vocabulary, fluency and coherence, and pronunciation. Many students fail to understand the band descriptors and as a result get a lower score than they expected. Okay, let's take a look at some tips to get a high score for grammar. First of all, grammar is marked on accuracy. It is very important to reduce grammatical errors as much as possible. A good way to do this is to record your answers on your phone. Listen to the recording and take note of any grammar mistakes you identified. Then, answer the questions again and try to avoid the grammar mistakes you made the first time. Secondly, to get a score of 6 or above, you need to use some complex structures. These are sentences that use linking words like although, because of, or as a result of, to connect ideas in one sentence. If you're not sure how to make complex sentences, don't worry. We have a lesson on complex sentences coming up soon. Finally, you should show the examiner your knowledge of different tenses in English. Students often only use simple tenses such as past simple and present simple. To get a higher score, it is a good idea to show the examiner that you can use other tenses such as perfect tenses or continuous tenses. Once again, we have a lesson on some tenses coming up in this course. The second band descriptor we will talk about is lexical resource, which simply means vocabulary. To get a high score, firstly, you should avoid repeating the same words many times. You need to show the examiner your ability to use synonyms. Our lesson, Synonyms of Success, which is coming up soon, will give you synonyms for words that students often overuse. Secondly, to get a score of above 7, you need to show the examiner that you can use phrasal verbs or idioms. We have a lesson on idioms coming up soon that will help you with this. Finally, you should use some topic-specific vocabulary. This is vocabulary that we only use when talking about a specific topic. For example, the adjective user-friendly means easy to use. However, it is almost always used when talking about technology. Our masterclass or sample answers on our website, essentialielts.com, can help you to learn topic-specific vocabulary. The third band descriptor is fluency and coherence. The examiner will think about a few things when assessing your fluency and coherence. Are your answers long enough? Do you speak smoothly and naturally? Are your answers organized and easy to understand? And do you use linking words? To get a high score, you should, first of all, use what we call discourse markers. These are words or phrases such as I suppose or unfortunately that help to make our feelings clearer and communicate ideas more effectively and naturally. We also have a lesson coming up on this in this course. Secondly, it is important not to rush through your answer. Many students want to say as much as possible and speak very quickly. This makes it difficult to understand. It also usually means that the student makes mistakes on pronunciation and grammar. You should focus on clear communication rather than saying as much as you can. Next, in order to make your answers easier to understand, you should use linking words such as in addition or however. This is particularly important in Part 2 and Part 3 of the test, as your answers should be longer than those in Part 1. Once again, our masterclass course and our free sample answers on our website give examples of how to do this naturally. Finally, try to avoid very long pauses, hesitation, and repeating yourself. I know this sounds difficult. It is okay to take a little time to think, but there shouldn't be any very long pauses in your speaking. You can use phrases like, "Let me think about that," or "That's an interesting question," to give yourself some time to think and avoid long pauses. The fourth and final band descriptor is pronunciation. The examiner will think about the following things when assessing your pronunciation. Number 1, is your pronunciation understandable? Number 2, do you pronounce words and sounds accurately? And number 3, do you use intonation? Many students think that they need to have a UK or North American accent to get a high score for pronunciation. This is not true. You are marked on how clear your pronunciation is. Pronunciation is improved most by listening and speaking, so our first tip is to find a speaking partner or tutor, preferably a native speaking tutor who can correct any mistakes you might be making. Secondly, you should listen to English as much as possible. Listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, and watch movies. TED Talks on YouTube are an excellent source of listening material for Ielts. Our masterclass course also goes into more detail on this and has many pronunciation exercises. Finally, you should use intonation. If you don't know what this is, don't worry, we have a video coming up on this later in the course. There are also many videos on YouTube that explain intonation, so look it up.